This is the OnePlus 9, the regular version. Now, a few months back, I reviewed the beefier brother of this phone, the OnePlus 9 Pro, and whilst I really liked that device overall, the price was a bit of a tough pill to swallow. And so this phone, the regular OnePlus 9, became a really interesting option for me. You see, depending on where you buy it from, you can get it for nearly half the price of the more premium OnePlus 9 Pro. So that begs the question, how much are you having to sacrifice to save that amount of money? So that is exactly what I aim to unpack in my 5-month-later review of the OnePlus 9. Let's dive in. As always, starting with the design, and if you've used OnePlus phones in the past, it is a very similar story here with the OnePlus 9. Unlike the 9 Pro though, this regular version has a flat display, which I've always said I prefer when it comes to usability in the hand. But aside from that, everything else is business as usual. Excellent clicky and tactile buttons. We've got that really tight alert slider as well, which I've loved being able to use once again. And then on the back, the camera unit is that same rounded rectangle camera unit we're now seeing on pretty much every modern OnePlus phone. The side rails are actually plastic compared to the aluminium rails found on the more premium OnePlus 9 Pro, but in all honesty, I can hardly notice the difference. Now, in terms of colors, I actually got the Arctic Sky variant, which is the only version out of the bunch that comes with a frosted finish on the back, and I have to say, it feels really nice in the hand. I know most people use their phones in cases, but if you're someone who likes to rock a phone caseless, I can highly recommend picking up this color option. And then we have the display. And once again, the panel found on this phone is another pretty fantastic one from OnePlus. It's not quite as bright as the 9 Pro or as sharp, given it's a full HD panel, but it also doesn't have that same variable refresh rate display, so it's just fixed at 120 Hz all the time. But some might even see this as a good thing, given you're less likely to see any of those accidental stutters from the display taking a moment to catch up to your touch. But whichever side of the boat you sit on in regards to variable refresh rates, aside from it being slightly dimmer than its more premium counterpart, there's no denying that this is still a great display. Now, in terms of the fingerprint sensor, unfortunately, it is still in that slightly awkward position towards the bottom of the display. But as for speed and reliability, it performs exactly the same as the 9 Pro, or in other words, it's really fast and reliable. The really high quality haptics are also the same. OnePlus has still utilized a top tier haptic motor despite this being the cheaper phone, and this is very much appreciated. The speakers are also, to my ears at least, identical to the ones found on the more expensive device. Okay, but the similarities with the more expensive 9 Pro don't stop there. Both phones run the same version of Oxygen OS over the top of Android 11, which is one of, if not my favorite Android skins these days. I will say though, up until the most recent software update, the regular OnePlus 9 was fluid in all areas, but typing, which was really annoying as it would often take the briefest of moments to catch up to what I was writing. But thankfully, a recent software patch seems to have fixed this issue. Aside from that though, animations are buttery smooth, and as always, the overall optimization of the software on this phone is bang on. And it's pretty much the same story with battery life. In fact, in my review of the OnePlus 9 Pro, this was an area that I complained about, given I was often struggling to get to the end of the day before needing to plug it in. And I've had just about the same experience with the regular 9 as well. Most days, it will last the full day, and in fact, with light use, there have been some days where I've gotten into bed with the phone on about 30 to 40%. But that aside, for general usage, similar to the 9 Pro, this phone is one you'll most likely need to top up at least once a day. I will just say, whilst the OnePlus 9 is advertised to come with 15-watt wireless charging, that's actually only for the North America and Europe variants of this phone. But for some reason, the Indian variant does not come equipped with this technology. So keep an eye out for that if you're importing your own international version of the OnePlus 9. For reference, the Indian model number is LE25DA, which can be found at the end of the build number. So something to watch out for. And so then we have the cameras. Now, on paper, the cameras on the regular OnePlus 9 seem almost identical to the ones found on the more premium OnePlus 9 Pro, albeit without a dedicated telephoto lens. But keep in mind, the main sensor on the OnePlus 9 Pro is actually the upgraded IMX789 sensor from Sony, whereas the regular OnePlus 9 uses the older IMX689 sensor. But honestly, this older sensor is nothing to sneeze at. And in fact, it's actually the same one that was used on the OnePlus 8 Pro, which a lot of people really liked. And in practice, you can hardly tell the difference. For the most part, the images you capture using the main lens on the OnePlus 9 are, to my eyes at least, just about as good as the ones captured on the more premium OnePlus 9 Pro. Now, as well as that, I praised the ultra-wide lens on the OnePlus 9 Pro back in that review. And guess what? It's the exact same really impressive sensor being used for the ultra-wide on the regular OnePlus 9. So that means we're getting the same really impressive images out of the ultra-wide lens on this cheaper phone. With that said, as mentioned, the only thing we miss out on with this cheaper phone is a telephoto lens. So of course, if you're someone who takes a lot of telephoto images or videos, then I guess the cheaper OnePlus 9 might not be for you. Unfortunately, both phones still don't take good portrait images using the native camera app. But as with all OnePlus phones that I've reviewed, if you download and use a Gcam mod instead, then you can vastly improve the look of your portrait images. There's one that works really well for the OnePlus 9 that I've been using, which I'll link down in the description below. But that's it, and I hope I've made it pretty clear throughout this video that the regular OnePlus 9 is a value-packed device. For a couple of $100 less than its more premium counterpart, all you lose out on really is fast wireless charging, a telephoto lens, and a slightly brighter and sharper display that is curved. But aside from that, they are very similar phones. And so for me, I really rate this phone, and it packs in all the necessary upgrades over its predecessor, the OnePlus 8T, to make it a really viable option. Sure, there are plenty of other great options out there at a similar price point, but there's nothing quite like a OnePlus phone rocking that clean OnePlus software. So if you're in the market for an upgrade, well then this phone is a seriously good bet. Now before we finish up for today, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Banggood, who were kind enough to send the regular OnePlus 9 my way for review. They haven't sponsored this video, but they've got an outrageously huge list of fun tech and gadgets available on their website, including the OnePlus 9, so I'll link to their website down in the description below. As well as that, I'm super excited to announce that my filmmaking course, Creating Cinematic Technology Videos, is now back up and live on the newly redesigned Graphy platform. This course is filled with over 5 hours of in-depth content that unpacks my entire process for creating high quality technology videos like this one, and it's ridiculously cheap, so I'll also link that below. Aside from that, that is it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you later.